My SummerSlam 2010 pay-per-view predictions. Pay-per-view is live tomorrow night exclusively on pay-per-view. And after I give my predictions for this pay-per-view, I'm going to give my thoughts on the TNA, the whole effing show TNA special this past Thursday. And I'm going to give my thoughts on the current Ring of Honor champion, Tyler Black, signing to WWE. Now let me give my thoughts on the SummerSlam card and my predictions for the pay-per-view. It's going to be on tomorrow night on pay-per-view. As far as the card for this pay-per-view, other than the 7-on-7 match, that's really the only thing that's really been built up pretty good for this pay-per-view. Everything else just seems like stuff you would see on, a regular pay-per-view that's not one of the big pay-per-views of the year. Because it's kind of like this pay-per-view is supposed to be the WrestleMania of the summer. And really, other than the 7-on-7 match, everything else is something you would either see on free TV or another pay-per-view, kind of like a throwaway pay-per-view. But the 7-on-7 match, I would say, has been built up very, very good. That's the one thing that's going to be the selling point for this pay-per-view. It's probably be the one thing that is probably going to get a lot of people to check out this pay-per-view and actually go out their way to order this pay-per-view. Is mainly for that 7-on-7 match and seeing what's going to happen in it. Is John Cena going to turn heel? Who's going to turn? Or just how they're going to put it together and how it's going to be booked. Because I think most people are looking forward to that match a lot. But the rest of the card is kind of really weak and lackluster, I would say. The first matchup will be Dolph Ziggler versus Kofi Kingston for the Intercontinental Championship. This should be a fun match right here. Probably a pretty good opener for SummerSlam. You'll probably see some good back-and-forth action. Now, since Dolph Ziggler just recently won the Intercontinental Championship, that obviously means he's not going to be losing it this quick. Dolph Ziggler just finally won it. He's been WWE's been putting him in their Intercontinental ranks for so long. It's like he finally won the title. It'd be really pointless for him to lose it already. So Dolph Ziggler is going to retain the Intercontinental Championship. The next matchup will be the match that's probably the worst thing on this pay-per-view. It's something I could care less about seeing on here. It's something they should just do on SmackDown. This doesn't seem like something they should put on a pay-per-view. This is the 3-on-1 handicap match with Big Show versus the Straight Edge Society. Now, Big Show is probably going to pick up the victory some way or another in this match. You're probably going to see some friction with the members of the Straight Edge Society. I don't know if you'll see a breakup of the Straight Edge Society quite yet, but you'll probably see a slow breakup process of the Straight Edge Society right here at SummerSlam. You'll see the startup of it, and Big Show, like I said, some way or another he'll win this match in this 3-on-1 handicap match. Hopefully it's very, very short. It's a match that should not be happening at a SummerSlam. It's just, what's the point of this match? And the next matchup will be for the Divas Championship. This is Alicia Fox versus Melina. Now, Melina's had one match since she returned, and that was this past Monday on Raw, defeating Alicia Fox in a non-title match, which right there, her defeating Alicia Fox in a non-title match right before the title match this Sunday, it makes you think that Alicia Fox, some way or another, is going to retain the title, just because I'll be shocked if Melina, this past Monday she beat Alicia Fox in a non-title match, and then tomorrow is she going to be able to beat Alicia Fox in a title match. I just don't see them doing that, so I see Alicia Fox retaining the title, then maybe at next month's pay-per-view, I think it's the Night of Champions, Melina will win the title there, or the title will just switch hands on a Raw right before that pay-per-view. But hoping Melina wins the title, I just don't see it happen. I see Alicia Fox retaining the title. Then the next matchup will be Kane versus Rey Mysterio for the World Heavyweight Championship. And this match, probably the main thing people are looking forward to is not even the match or anything in the match itself. It's going to be Undertaker's return. Obviously, you're going to probably see Undertaker's return in this match. Either he's going to cost Kane the title, or he's going to do something at the end of this match, which that's the way I see it happening, because to see Kane retain the title, I just don't see them giving the title back to Rey Mysterio. And they've been flip-flopping the SmackDown title so much recently that they just need to keep the title on one person for a change in a month, and don't have the title change yet again this quick. Because you went from Jack Swagger, then Rey Mysterio, then Kane, then what, are you going to put it back on Rey Mysterio? Just be completely pointless to do it. Just don't do it. Have Kane retain the title, then they'll probably have a program with Undertaker and Kane probably at the September pay-per-view and the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view in October. At least that's what their plans are right now, probably having the Undertaker and Kane program. It seems like that's the way they will go with it. With Undertaker, coming out at the end of the match or doing something at the end of this match, and maybe you'll see a stare down with him and Kane, or you'll see, them getting a fight, and that'll lead up to their match at the next pay-per-view in September. But you're most likely are going to see the one return that's almost guaranteed for this pay-per-view is Undertaker. I know some people might be throwing out Triple H has a chance of returning it on this pay-per-view, but I think the one solid thing that you could say, or one thing that's completely almost that you can be guaranteed to see, is Undertaker's return at SummerSlam. Then the next matchup is Sheamus versus Randy Orton for the WWE Championship. Now, Randy Orton is so over with the crowd right now. I think he does need to win the WWE title. I'd be glad to see him win it. You know, he's so over with the crowd right now. He hasn't had the WWE title in a long time. Actually, you know, for someone like him that's frequently in the main events and, you know, is always one of the top guys in WWE, it actually surprises me he hasn't held the title probably in a little over a year, and maybe even a little longer than that. He hasn't held the title in a little while. So at SummerSlam, I do see him winning the WWE Championship just because, you know, Sheamus is, you know, he's more over than what he was in his first title reign, but that's not really saying much. In his first title reign, no one gave two shits about him. Now, some people are at least paying attention to him, and, you know, he's at least kind of growing on a lot of fans. I mean, Sheamus in his first title reign, I couldn't stand him. Now I actually don't mind him that much, but I think the best thing will be is Randy Orton win the title, and I do see it happening because I think they need to give the title to Randy Orton. He's so over with the crowd right now. It'd be idiotic to not give him the title, I would say. So Randy Orton, I see him winning the WWE Championship. Then the main event is the 7-on-7 match, the Team WWE versus the Nexus. Team WWE is consisted of John Cena, Bret Hart, Chris Jericho, Edge, John Morrison, R-Truth, and it was going to be Great Khali as the 7th person in the match, but he got taken out this past Monday night by the Nexus. So it's only 6 on their team right now. So it's going to be a 7th member on there, you know, to be announced. You'll see at the pay-per-view who it's going to be. Now, who could it be? I'm thinking it's most likely going to be The Miz as the 7th member of Team WWE in this match. Now, the thing that's not going to happen, but I'll at least throw it out there. It'll at least be cool to see, and everything will become like full circle here, and it will make sense if it happens. But I know it's not going to happen, and that is Bryan Danielson as the 7th member of Team WWE. Now, it's not going to happen. Don't expect it. Expect just to see The Miz as the 7th member on Team WWE, because I think that's the most likely scenario that The Miz will do it, but that's the, out there scenario, the stuff that could possibly happen, maybe a huge surprise seeing Bryan Danielson as the 7th member. Don't see it happening, but I just want to throw out the possibility of it having a little chance of happening, but don't expect it. Then on Team Nexus is consisted of Wade Barrett, Skip Sheffield, Justin Gabriel, David Otunga, Darren Young, Michael Tarver, and Heath Slater. And this match has been built up very good. I really like the build up to this 7-on-7 match. The crowd has just been eating this whole Nexus versus Team WWE thing up. Just the reaction to it, this is probably like one of the times in WWE in a long time that you've seen the crowd really react to something as loudly as they had with this feud. Just this past Monday where they did the whole thing with Team WWE versus the Nexus at the end, where you saw Chris Jericho and Edge, they weren't on the team at that point, and they reluctantly joined, came in the ring, and you saw a brawl with the Nexus versus Team WWE. That ending of Raw was put together very good, and I think they really did a good selling. The selling factor of this pay-per-view going into it is obviously the 7-on-7 elimination match with Team WWE versus Nexus, and I think they've been building up so good. I expect SummerSlam to do a very good buy rate this year just for this match. Now, the one thing that possibly could hurt the buy rate for this pay-per-view, or some people not being interested of seeing it, is the other matches on the pay-per-view. The other matches are very, very weak for a SummerSlam, but WWE going into it, the main selling point they're selling it on is the 7-on-7 match. I think they built it up very good. It was good just seeing the beginning when they just started doing it. They did it with John Cena coming out there, saying he's going to apologize to the Nexus, and thinking about it was looking like he was going to turn heel and join them there. Then he formed Team WWE to take on the Nexus, and just the weeks building up to SummerSlam and doing this Team WWE versus Nexus has been very, very good. Can't wait to see how it's booked now. This match could be booked very good, or could be booked very poorly. Hopefully, that obviously with the other matches on this pay-per-view, you only got, 5 other matches on this pay-per-view, and really none of those matches I think are going to get a huge amount of time. So expect this Team WWE versus Nexus match to probably get maybe 45, maybe close to an hour, counting entrances and everything like that and post-match stuff. And the likely scenario here is the Nexus are going to win this match. That's who I'm saying is going to win this match. Now, the way they're going to win it could go in several different ways. Obviously, there's going to be a member on Team WWE that's going to turn. Now, The Miz is going to be like I said, he's going to be the 7th member on there, so it'd be pointless for him to turn. It'd be like, what's the point of him turning on Team WWE when he wasn't even on the team in the first place, and he just got on there as the 7th member? It'd be pointless for him to turn. The very predictable thing will be Edge or Jericho turning, so that's way too predictable. I don't see that happening. The John Cena heel turn possibly could happen. It'd be a huge shocker to happen just because I just don't think WWE has the guts to do it. I just don't see them doing it. So I'm going to go with John Morrison. That's the person I think they are going to go with having the heel turn and turn on Team WWE in this match, and that could possibly be a thing to really help out his career and maybe skyrocket himself into a main event shot for the World Heavyweight Championship sometime down the line, because I think John Morrison definitely has the skills to do it, and possibly a heel turn possibly could help him out a whole lot right there. But the one thing with that is, that's who I think is going to turn, but I'm thinking WWE wants to have that shocker, have something that people are going to be talking about for the whole entire week, and people are like, whoa, I couldn't believe that person's going to turn on Team WWE. And Morrison, will that really be a huge, will people be like completely shocked or care about that much? So if WWE wants to have something real shocking, they need to pull the trigger, turn John Cena heel. I just don't see it happening. It'd be cool as hell to see, because I think it's one thing a lot of fans want to see for a long time. I just don't think WWE is going to do it, just because WWE's got it stuck in their head that they think that if they turn him heel, it's going to completely hurt their business. It's going to be completely hurt their merchandise sales and stuff like that, which in some factors I can understand why WWE thinks that, but I think WWE overdoes it, and it's not going to hurt the whole entire company. It's not going to hurt merchandise. It's not like your company's going to die if you turn John Cena heel. It actually might, help out your company more, because it'll be like showing that you're doing stuff outside the box and some original stuff that fans want to see happen. So hopefully we see that. That's what I'm hoping happen is John Cena turn heel, because I think with the 7-on-7 match, it could be booked very good, and it could be a very good 7-on-7 elimination match. But if you want to have that moment of someone turning heel on and turning on Team WWE in this match, you want something to be a huge shocker, do it with John Cena. I just don't see it happening. Like I said, I think Morrison probably will be the one that is going to turn on his team in the match. Up next, let me give my thoughts on TNA, the whole effing show TNA Impact special from this past Thursday. Now, this was a TNA Impact with pay-per-view quality matches. That's what it was built as. And I gotta say, it was a damn good Impact. Very entertaining Impact. Now, the stuff you saw on this TNA Impact was the stuff you would have saw on the Hardcore Justice, which was originally Hard Justice, and before they did the ECW One Night Stand idea for that pay-per-view. And this was the matches that you were going to see originally on that pay-per-view. First match on here you saw was AJ Styles versus Kurt Angle. Now, this was only about 8 or 9 minutes, for a TV match with Kurt Angle and AJ Styles. Pretty good back-and-forth action. Enjoyed it. Would have loved to seen them two, wrestle another 10 minutes, because the matches we've seen them on pay-per-view have been incredible. But for the time they were given, only 8 or 9 minutes, they had a hell of a match. Very entertaining way to start the show off with. If I had to give it a rating, which kind of for a TV show, it's kind of hard to give star ratings, but if I had to give it a rating, I'd probably give it, 3 stars, maybe 3 1/4 stars. For an 8 or 9 minute match, it was very damn entertaining. Then the next matchup was the match they did with Angelina Love versus Madison Rayne. Angelina Love won the Knockouts Championship. There's really not much to talk about here. It looks like they're going to be having Velvet Sky and Angelina Love, the original members of the Beautiful People, form back, which has been a rumor for a little while that TNA was going to go that route. So it looks like they're going to go that route of having them form back with each other. Madison Rayne, not sure what they're going to do with her, probably since they're doing this thing with the masked woman on the motorcycle coming out there and trying to, cost Madison Rayne the championship and stuff like that. It'll probably go with, obviously, the person under it is Victoria, a.k.a. Tara, so you'll see probably a Madison Rayne versus Tara feud, which might be decent. Nothing too special, probably, either with that women's feud. Angelina Love, as the women's champion, again, the Knockouts champion, that match, for a women's match, it was watchable at best. Then the next matchup was probably a match that, if given more time, it probably could actually have been an entertaining match. But considering, the time constraints for this Impact, not only is it only a 2-hour show instead of a 3-hour show, which if this was 3 hours, they would have been able to give more time to certain matches, and in particular this match and maybe the AJ Styles and Kurt Angle match. But this next matchup was the Pope D'Angelo Nero versus Mr. Anderson versus Matt Morgan. And it was fairly short, probably 4 or 5 minutes, not much of anything in this match. Anderson and the Pope did some pretty decent stuff in here, and Matt Morgan picks up the victory in this match. So maybe TNA is starting to try to build Matt Morgan back up and starting to try to get him a little more credibility and slowly try to transition him into a main event star because, at one point, especially last year in TNA, Matt Morgan probably was going to be like the next top star in the organization, but then he completely fell off. TNA really didn't try to do much with him, which I myself am not much of a fan of Matt Morgan, but I would notice if I would ran an organization and, anyone running a wrestling organization or any booker in an organization, if someone's really over with the crowd, you need to book them really hard. You need to, keep on booking them as hard as you can. And, if they're over so much with the crowd, you need to have them in the main event and need to have them as a World Heavyweight Champion. Now, the next matchup was the Jeff Hardy special challenge match, which ended up being him versus Shannon Moore. Now, the people that were probably there live, I know a lot of people were there, that they're there live because reading the spoilers earlier in the week when the Impact taping happened. A lot of people were very disappointed in seeing that it was Shannon Moore taking on Jeff Hardy because a lot of people were expecting, were TNA going to bring in Hurricane Helms to take on Jeff Hardy or, Shelton Benjamin or Charlie Haas. That was what most people were expecting. And then when they see Shannon Moore and someone that's already a part of the TNA roster already, it was probably really disappointing for them. But fairly solid match with Jeff Hardy versus Shannon Moore. They're pretty close to each other. They're best friends, so you would expect them to have a pretty good match. Wasn't anything great, but a pretty decent, match and pretty solid TV match between those two with Jeff Hardy versus Shannon Moore. Then the next matchup, which was the match of the night and the match that I would say is a TNA Match of the Year candidate, probably one of TNA's best matches this year. I think one of the matches that you probably could say that might be equal to it or a little better, which is the only thing I could say you could say better than this, is probably the cage match with Anderson versus Kurt Angle. But I would say this is probably even as good as that, if not better. And this was the Beer Money versus Motor City Machine Guns, and this was the 5th match in their best of 5 series right here. And this was a 2 out 3 falls match. This is what the final match was with Motor City Machine Guns versus Beer Money for the Tag Team Championship. Great match right here. Great TV match. Not only a great TV match, this was a match that was definitely pay-per-view quality. This match right here was definitely pay-per-view quality. If there's something you need to see on this Impact, is definitely this match right here. Great match with Beer Money versus the Motor City Machine Guns. I would give it, 4 and 1/4 stars. Very damn entertaining match. Motor City Machine Guns retained the championship, which glad to see they retained it, and plus at the same time had a great tag team match and probably one of the best tag team matches I've seen in TNA in a long time. The Motor City Machine Guns and Beer Money have a lot of chemistry, and you can see that in this match. And definitely one of the best tag team matches that I've seen this year so far. I mean, I would even include, you could say even Ring of Honor included in other organizations as well. This was a damn good tag match, and definitely good to see a great tag match from TNA. And this is like one of those types of things that TNA needs to focus on there. If they want to have themselves look different than WWE, prove yourself like this with tag team action like this, because WWE doesn't give two shits about tag team wrestling. TNA with this type of match and, a feud like the Beer Money versus Motor City Machine Guns feud, prove they actually have a good tag team division, actually can have great tag team wrestling in their organization. That's one of those things they need to kind of make themselves, differentiate themselves from WWE. And this was just a great match, really entertaining match with Beer Money versus the Motor City Machine Guns. The next matchup was the main event. This was Abyss versus RVD. And this was like TNA's version of ECW Stairway to Hell match with Janice on the hanging up above the ring. And it was the 2x4 with nails in it. And this match with RVD versus Abyss was pretty entertaining. I mean, It's not a match I would say if it was a pay-per-view match I would have been hugely impressed with it, but for a main event of Impact, and especially since it was free TV, and after what you saw with the previous match, which was the pay-per-view quality match, and was definitely the match that was worth checking Impact out for, this match was pretty solid. It was kind of like the first match with Kurt Angle versus AJ Styles, where it was an entertaining match, pretty good stuff with Abyss versus RVD, good back and forth action, kind of enjoyed it. Now, the stuff post-match I kind of could have dealt without. RVD retains the championship. Now, I'm not going to spoil what happens next week on Impact. I'm pretty sure most people already know what happens with that. But at the end of this is when they do the whole Fortune beating down the whole ECW faction, coming out there standing strong, and then Impact ends with RVD completely bloodied backstage, which kind of looked very cheesy, I would say, with, RVD, all busted open backstage and stuff like that. You'll get more explanations to that next week on Impact and where that's going to go. Pretty sure most people already know where it's going to go, because I'm pretty sure most people read the spoilers. But not to spoil it, I'm not going to give away what happens. I'm actually surprised that I haven't seen people on YouTube and around YouTube actually giving away the spoilers or telling you what's going to happen next Thursday, which actually kind of surprised. I know a lot of people would be pissed off that happened, because I remember the whole thing with Jack Swagger. A lot of people got pissed off that they didn't want to find out what happened there, and then that pissed off a lot of people. So, hopefully, that doesn't happen and people give away what happens on Impact. And if someone does give away what happens on Impact, say it's a spoiler, because there's many people that do not want to hear spoilers, and there's many people that, just want to wait to see what happens on Impact. I'm pretty sure most people know what happens this Thursday on Impact and where it's going to lead to after that. But a fairly entertaining Impact right there this past Thursday. I'd love to see more Impacts like that frequently from TNA, which Impact recently, I would say, even though there's been a few flaws with Impact and a number of flaws with Impact, it's been pretty entertaining, I would say. This summer, I would say Raw's been pretty entertaining, and Impact at the same time has been pretty entertaining as well. Both of them have their flaws, but both of them have been pretty, overall, when you look at the whole entire show, pretty entertaining, or at least better than what they have been earlier this year and probably last year as well. Then let me give my thoughts on Tyler Black signing to WWE. Ring of Honor, current Ring of Honor champion Tyler Black signing a developmental contract with WWE, which it's seeming like he's going to be leaving Ring of Honor in September, which with that is most likely going to be his last match in Ring of Honor. It's going to be at the September 11th Glory by Honor 9 Internet pay-per-view on the September 11th Ring of Honor show, and that's going to be his last match there. Now, he could possibly lose the Ring of Honor Championship before then, which I would say would be the best thing to do, so that the last match he has isn't him losing the Ring of Honor Championship, and his last match on the September 11th Glory by Honor show would be more or less just a send-off for him, and maybe, have him take on someone like Christopher Daniels, even though they just did that on ROH on HDNet. But they could do it on there, kind of have a match to have a good send-off for him, and have him lose the title to, I would say, have him lose it to Davey Richards. That's what I'm hoping they're going to do, but it's looking like they're going to have Roderick Strong, because they're building up Roderick Strong pretty strong right now, no pun intended. They're building him up very strong right now, so it seems like he might be the one to dethrone Tyler Black, even though I think most people, me in particular, want to see Davey Richards as Ring of Honor champion, which Ring of Honor losing another main event star to WWE and to the major leagues is definitely a blow for Ring of Honor, but this is not going to be something that's going to be like the huge loss that, you saw when Bryan Danielson and Nigel McGuinness left. People thought that was going to kill their organization. That was going to really hurt them, but actually, after that, I would say their shows were even better without Danielson and Tyler Black, because they've been proving they had a lot of good shows this year and past, the era of Nigel McGuinness and Bryan Danielson. Tyler Black leaving is a huge loss, because I would definitely say right now he's been just starting to, get that, great reign as Ring of Honor champion. It would be a damn shame, him having to leave right now for that, but I wish him the best in his WWE career. Now, will WWE use him? We'll just have to wait and see. Now, Tyler Black, he's a great performer. Has a pretty good look to him, I would say, but the one thing that's going to hurt him in WWE, especially with this day and age in wrestling where managers are non-existent, he's terrible on the mic. I think even fans of Tyler Black will admit that. He's not as bad as what he used to be. He has improved, but for WWE, he's really pathetic on the mic, and he needs to improve that a lot. And that's probably going to be the one thing that's unfortunately going to hold him back in WWE, because I think if he was good on the mic, or if he had someone that was some manager that could help him, because that's the one thing that kind of sucks in this era of wrestling where managers are non-existent, because I think that's something that needs to come back as managers, because, you know, in Ring of Honor, you got Roderick Strong as manager right now. Has a manager right now. I think that's something that was long overdue for him, and I think that's something Tyler Black's going to possibly need in WWE, or have some valet with him, something to kind of help himself get over. Because, you know, in the ring he can get over, but he's not going to be able to sell, you know, a match the way he is on the mic right now. He definitely needs to improve. So wish him the best in WWE. Hopefully WWE uses him, but, you know, with their track record of some former Ring of Honor stars and WWE, you know, mainly, you know, the only one that's really ever made it really huge and still is pretty big there right now is CM Punk. And CM Punk has, you know, the look. He has, you know, he's good on the mic. He's great in the ring as well. And that's the one thing that's going to probably hurt Tyler Black is him on the mic. So just want to give my thoughts on Tyler Black going to WWE. Wish him the best right there. Hopefully WWE does use him. Give my thoughts on the TNA, the whole effing show special from this past Thursday, and my predictions for SummerSlam for tomorrow night. And hopefully SummerSlam turns out better than what the card looks right now, because the card, other than the 7-on-7 match, looks very weak. So yeah, that's it for this video. Peace.